Fuel rewards just got better at Randall's. Now earn up to 20 cents off per gallon at Chevron or Texaco stations, or up to $1 off per gallon at Randall's fuel stations. This week, you can earn up to 2 times fuel reward points on your purchases at Randall's by downloading the offer on your Randall's app. Save big on gas today by signing up at randalls.com/rewards. Maximum gas reward at participating Chevron or Texaco stations is 20 cents per gallon or $1 per gallon at Randall's fuel stations in a single fill-up, up to 25 gallons. Other restrictions and exclusions apply. See complete details at randalls.com/rewards.
Greetings and welcome to another spontaneous combustion of 15 minutes of flame. I'm Robert Phoenix as I nudge my way closer to the microphone so that I can be heard a little more clearly with more dynamism. How's that? Hold on. Got to get the right height, the right volume, the right angle. Let's see, there we go. Well, welcome to this spontaneous show. I was planning on doing at least an hour today, so I'm going to do my best to put an hour's worth of work in. I had a few readings earlier today. I kind of caught up in some personal affairs, personal business, and here I am. And going to do my best to break down where we are with the election process. I've removed myself from Facebook for the next 48 hours. So if you want to find me, you'll find me here or you'll find me on YouTube with a live stream. It's going to be one of the two. Tomorrow I'll probably do 2 programs. I'll do a 2-hour show on Blog Talk, and I'll do a live stream tomorrow night during the election. How does that sound? And I don't know, maybe I'll try to get some guests, or I'll just narrate, and we'll figure out where we're going to go. Tomorrow we'll have some call-in. Murray, all the way from down under New Zealand, sent in a question. So if you guys want to have some questions, you want to talk, and I don't care if you are pro-Clinton or pro-Hillary, I don't care. Call into the show. This is a time where we are going to do our best to close the gap between Americans. Although it is a mighty wide gap, I'd like to add. Yeah, today on Facebook was fairly intense. I haven't done this in a while, but I defriended somebody on Facebook who's a longtime friend. But we were not seen politically eye to eye. And look, I will make no bones about it. I mean, I am not some freaking dyed-in-the-wool conservative, trust me. If you want to sleep with somebody of your same sex, as long as they are consenting to it, I don't care. I don't care who you sleep with. Just don't tell my kid who he's supposed to sleep with. If you want to call yourself a third-party name, eliminate a pronoun, I don't care. Just don't tell my kid to follow suit. Okay? If you want to kill yourself on drugs, I would hope that you wouldn't do it, but if that's what you want to do, you have a choice. You can put it in your body and deal with the consequences. I am a person that is into personal liberty. Just don't tell me what to do or what to put in my body or what to put in my kid's body. That's all I care about. Leave me the fuck alone, and I'm fine. Stay, as far as the collective stuff goes, get out of the foreign conflicts. Just get out of the Middle East, get out of North Africa. For me, this is for me, and I'm fine. Let's bring it on home. Let's start taking care of business on the home front. Let's start taking care of our vets and the people that are in those silly wars by no longer exposing them to damage and trauma for the banking and the occult interests that are setting up the enemies for them to fight. Yeah, that's right. We're setting up the enemies for our boys and girls now to go over to the Middle East, North Africa, and go and fight. We've set the whole thing up. Now, we've got a history of this. This goes back a long way. This is how the Rothschilds operate. They were betting on Napoleon. They were betting on England. Cromwell, Napoleon, it didn't matter to them. Whoever was going to win was going to be beholden to them. Creating chaos creates market conditions. This is an age-old tactic, and we're still doing it. It's time to stop. Is this insanity? Am I insane? Am I bringing the voice of insanity? This was the voice of the Democratic Party. This was the voice of progressive politics. This was the voice of the peace movements. Hello, where did that go? As long as you got a woman president, doesn't matter. Blow the shit out of the place. As long as it's a woman who's pressing the damn button. Janet Reno died. You know what I'm doing right now? I'll put my cowboy hat on. This is in memory of Waco and the Branch Davidians. Now, some people think that nobody died there, that it was all just a dog and pony show, that nobody was really hurt. Another false flag, another just bite of reality down the incinerator of life. I beg to differ. Where's your proof? Where's your proof? You got a little picture there of David Koresh or some guy that's got a similar ear? Why did they blow up the Murrah building? Why did they bulldoze it? They had all the trial evidence from the Branch Davidians in Waco. Janet Reno presided over that during the high or low early days of Molech, where the burning of children and child sacrifice is considered a pleasing act to the dark gods. Yes, it was Janet Reno and her partner in crime, Miss Orange Red Pant. Well, wouldn't it be great if she wore an orange pantsuit? Sorry, my bias is showing. Hillary Clinton, the Clinton family, the Clinton Foundation, part of a crime syndicate. It's not just their crime syndicate, part of the Bush crime syndicate for a very long time. Long time. And now we're about to see potentiality of somebody who is a crime lord. She is like the Ma Barker. She's like the Ma Barker of the Democratic Party. Oh, my God. Listening to Hillary Clinton for the next 8 years. It's a nightmare in and of itself. We're going to relax. We're going to breathe. You know, I'm going to play a recording by Abraham Hicks. And I'm going to give you a little bit of an intro. I'm going to let you listen to the recording, and then I'm going to break down the recording, or at least what I think about it. It's Abraham's thoughts on the election and why it's the best election ever. Oh, golly, gee whiz. Can't wait. Best election ever. I understand where they're coming from. Because you have to put yourself into a place where you must embrace the duality. There's something about both candidates. Who am I doing? I'm sorry. That's Trevor Marciniak. I was channeling the Pleiadians.
There's something about both candidates that resonates within you. There is a spark of each, and between the two sparks there is an electrical current. And it is that bridge, the rainbow bridge of consciousness, which links the two of them. And thus we encapsulate the realm of duality between the two. See, I could make big money on the channel circuit, I think. Get me plugged in. Enough of this. $155 for a reading. Oh, I'll throw it in. $1,000 for a channel session. Well, you see that you've been a high priestess in a previous life. In a temple to Baal, you gave your body up to the dog sacrifice. Well, this lifetime is a time of redemption. Hillary Clinton. And it is not too late for you to redeem yourself. Yes, the voices in your head have consumed you, that possess you, but with the 11th hour, you have the ability to redeem yourself. Come clean! Come clean, Jezebel! Raise yourself from the pits from which you have descended and ascended into raw consciousness. All right, enough of that. We've got an election coming, and Abraham Hicks has decided to chime in on the election. You want to hear it? Okay. My cats are naughty. Let's play this. This is the best election ever. And then I'm going to break this down, and I'll give you guys kind of the latest and greatest as we head into the election cycle. It's 10 minutes, 57 seconds long. Listen to it. You'll learn something. And you didn't have to pay a huge amount of money to go to the seminar to ask this question.
We think that it's the best election ever because it gives you, as a large segment of the population of this planet, an opportunity to discover that it was never about them anyway. The Republicans do not create your reality, and the Democrats do not create your reality. We think it is the best election ever, and the outcome of it is irrelevant. They don't create your own reality. You do. But you can introduce a lot of resistance into your vibration by finding this or that or all of it to push against. They are not the vortex through which your well-being flows. They have minuscule influence on what happens to you. Your relationship with your own vortex, you're getting into your receiving mode. That's what influences what comes to you. The balance of your planet and all of its diversity is magnificent. And your nation and its politics are only a small spattering in the whole spectrum of all of that. If you can make diversity your friend, see it as a big buffet of many choices, and then you can become a purer, more deliberate, more personal chooser of your own thoughts. You don't even know what either of them really thinks because you rarely have an opportunity to put it in the context of anything that is whole. Nothing is presented to you in a pure enough form for you to translate it with any effectiveness through your own physical senses. You've got to get it through your solar plexus. You've got to get it through your emotional center, you see. It's unlikely that either of them will be able to say enough to help you align.
So how do I participate in this? And if I'm going to be part of the election, or if I want to vote for somebody, or do I even vote? Do I separate myself completely from that?
Well, first, understand that you are always casting vibrational votes for everything that affects you. We would say, don't worry about it. We would say, don't suffer over it. We would say, don't push against it. And don't ever, ever, ever ask anything to be everything that you need it to be, and never, ever, ever attempt to give anything your whole support. That's like saying to someone, You need to be exactly what I need you to be before I can feel good. You are in deep doo-doo if that is what is necessary. This will help you to understand what the uncondition of your alignment is really about. Even those who signed those documents that are the basis on which you have founded your nation, they were not even in agreement with each other, even though they signed their names to those documents. But enough time has passed, and there was no social media for you to be up on every argument or everything that was uttered. And so time has sort of blurred your ability to understand the diversity that was present even in all of that. That was not a coming to a place of perfection from which your nation has been eroding and sliding away from ever since. It's all been and will continue to be in the process of becoming. And these people that have given so much of their life and time to get out there in order to gather the consciousness and help focus the consciousness, without exception, it would do well for you, your benefit for you, to appreciate every one of them and the contribution they are making, even if you do not agree with what they are saying, you see. If you can give up on needing someone to be lovable before you love them, you will be free. If you would vote for every positive aspect you see on every side of the aisle, then you would be at least one who lines up with the vortex that you've collectively created, you see. Everyone who has lived is now non-physically focused and focused upon the well-being of what's going on here and now. There is a collective body of powerful creators and focusers who are not just rooting for your well-being, not just rooting for your survival, not only rooting for your joyous survival, but knowing with everything that we all are that it will continue to be and that it will continue to be good to the degree that you as individuals allow it to be good. So rather than asking them to be what you need them to be so that you can flow your love, just flow your love and trust that law of attraction will find the outlet for which it to flow to, you see. You don't have to worry about these things. And it doesn't mean don't be informed. It doesn't mean don't have an opinion. Those opinions matter very much. Sift and sort and decide, but then just don't get all twirled up in any outcome that you cannot control. And if someone says, how are you voting? Just say, I'm voting for the happy ticket. Which one is that? It's both of them, really. I make lists of positive aspects of both candidates every day. And that will stop the conversation right then and there. When you talk about political things, Esther can talk as good a game as anyone. She really understands what's going on. In other words, she likes being informed, but she never, ever, ever gets into a political discussion with anyone that she doesn't get a knot in her stomach, because we don't come to the party. And when we're not at the party, Esther's used to us being at the party. She's used to infinite intelligence streaming through. And when she gets on a subject where she's all blocked off, where she's got herself all blocked off and asks for the energy to stream, but she's all blocked off, it punches her hard. And that's what makes you think we need to do something different. But the thing that you need to do that's different isn't find someone to open your valve. You do it. The recognition that no one holds the power or the key to your vortex, that only you do. What this has been for most of you is an exercise of disempowerment. It's been a wobbling of who will help you do the thing that they were never meant to do and never will be able to do. It's a turning over your ability to lead your own life to someone else who couldn't possibly lead your own life. You could sit with each one of them and have a full year with every one of them, and you could not effectively convey to them who you are or what you want or need from them. And even if you did, they could not give it to you no matter how hard they tried, because they cannot understand your perspective. That is not a gift that they have to give you. You see, you are looking for righteousness and goodness and truth and justice in all the wrong places. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the game of it. You get fixated on the negative aspects of something, and it prevents you from ever seeing any positive aspects, even though there may be some. And so Esther decided to do something that she had decided not to ever do again. She decided to watch some of the political discussions to see if she could get past her own prejudices, to see if she could give anyone the benefit of the doubt enough to receive wisdom from someone that she had decided was not wise, to see if she could see past the decisions that she had already made. And she was so surprised, and won't even say it out loud to you, of the intelligence that she found in this one and 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 this one. There were harmony points all over the place that you don't want to speak out loud in a political arena. What it comes down to is you have a point of attraction, and your point of attraction is showing you what it is at all times. And as a mass consciousness, you have created something that now a lot of you are complaining about. And we don't think that it's too different from what's going on in your individual lives. You create things and then you complain about them. And it's time to no longer create them. It isn't that you want to stop complaining, because that would mean no longer enjoy the contrast, but accept your point of attraction and stop trying to make the way you feel someone else's fault. When you take responsibility for how you're feeling, then you have the benefit of moving yourself into harmony with what you really feel and what you really know. And when you do that, you will have that harmonic political process that you all right now feel so desperately that you are in need of. You can't continue to look at what is and flail about in your discomfort of what it's all come to and cause it to come to something different than what you are looking at, you see. And so many of you have wisely just withdrawn your attention from it. But if you're wanting to be of help to anything, no matter how close up it is to you or how far away it is to you, get into the receiving mode and give yourself the permission to find a positive aspect on somebody on the other side of the political spectrum. Because until you do that, you will never be in harmony with your inner being who loves them all. So just start deciding what you're for and start listening for evidence of that. And what you'll begin to notice is, in many cases, they start to sound like one another. No matter how far apart they are in their political views, they begin to start reflecting the sentiment of one another. And that really is the wonderful thing that's going on in this particular time, is that so many have become aware of what isn't working, that there is a vortex so powerfully inflated with what is wanting that there is an acquiescing to that. So it's not about the will of the people. It's not about the vote of the people. It's about the vibrational balance of the people. It always has been. And just because there's something that's a reflection of what's going on in the masses doesn't mean that it has to affect you unless you are one who always vibrates with the masses. You have the ability to be an individual advocate of your own well-being and others. You do not have to look at what is and let what is be the only reason that you broadcast and then receive. Isn't that an interesting thing? A whole big bunch of you all twirled up in focusing on what you don't want and broadcasting so much about what you don't want that all you're getting is more of what you don't want. And it's just getting louder and louder and louder and louder and louder.
Well, thank you, Abraham, for that wonderful insight and wisdom about the electoral process. She said some good things, right? I mean, one of the takeaways is that if you allow this event to dominate your consciousness, you are looking for externalization. You're looking out there. That doesn't work. That part I agree with. I'm in agreement with that part. What I am not in agreement with is that if this entity is so powerful and so great, then why isn't this entity using its grand powers of vision, insight, and clarity to blow the fucking lid off Hillary Clinton? That's what I want to know. It's not what I don't want. I know what I want. What I want is I want to live in a world where people are held accountable for what they do. And that includes me and anybody else, and it includes the people that make decisions at the highest level in this country. They need to be held accountable, and they're not. Okay? So I want that. This is what I'm wanting, Abraham. I'm wanting my fellow brothers and sisters to be able to speak freely in a world where other people have the right to speak freely as well, and to be able to agree or not agree, but not to shout one another down and to not put one another in a politically correct mindset. So I am affirming and decreeing freedom of speech and freedom of expression. Absolutely. Now, unlike Esther, who enters into a political discussion and her stomach goes into knots because Abraham and the rest of creation can't go there and help her out, I can. My stomach does not go into knots. I don't need a 5,000-year-old entity or whatever to come into my life and bring me the pathways or the byways or the linkages so I can begin to talk about this stuff in a way where my stomach isn't in knots. I don't need that. I'm sorry that Esther does. It seems to be a supreme disconjunct between Esther and Abraham. At least that's what it feels. It's what it feels like to me. I understand where it's coming from. It's about bridging the gap around duality and finding something about each of the candidates that we're positive about. And through that positivity, we create more love and more attraction of what we need, blah, 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 blah. I get it. I totally get it. I get it. There's something really funny's happened. As I played the Abraham Hicks thing, this spider came down from my ceiling and decided to create a web between the ceiling and one of my son's baseball trophies. It's kind of interesting. It's actually not his trophy. It's somebody else's trophy. But now the spider is sort of ascending and descending, and my cat wants a piece of that spider. And I'm a little hesitant. And I don't know what that spider's about. That spider might have some kind of a venom or something. Nip my cat in the nose. No, I'll have a dead cat. I don't want that. But it's interesting that the spider has descended during this Abraham topic. The great diversity of life on the planet. Now, she's talking about diversity of life, right? But she is using the term diversity, which is a progressive term. It's diversity. Oh, yeah, diversity. There's a lot of diversity here. Let's go with the candidate that's into diversity. No, I don't know. I'm messing around with that. Look, I think this entity is wrong. Okay, let me just cut to the chase. I think the entity is wrong. I think that we do need to make choices, and who does run the mass consciousness for however long makes an impact on it. And by the way, I wasn't running around creating the world and deciding I didn't like it anymore. I didn't have a lot to do with that. And I'm not sure a lot of other people that I know have had a lot to do with that. We do create it to a certain extent with our thoughts and our feelings and our consciousness. But I didn't vote for Obamacare. I wasn't even for Obama. I didn't even vote for Obama. So I think she's wrong. I think the entity is wrong. I get what Abraham is saying, but I think it's limited. I think it's a limited perspective because we're dealing with some very clear, absolute pieces of evidence, particularly on the Hillary Rodham Clinton side of the equation. Now, how does Abraham not get into the dark polarity of the Clinton camp and the occultism of politics as it's been around for eons. Should we just not focus on that? Should we just focus on the positivity? I'm sure there are some, positive aspects around pedophilia. Can we pick one of those? Oh, yeah. The child is getting some kind of love. At least they're getting some kind of love. Maybe they're not getting the love at home. Oh, the kindness of strangers. I mean, come on. I get the widespread, expansive, hyper-consciousness perspective, but I think it's wrong. That doesn't mean that we can't have that. It doesn't mean that we're not drawing and attracting people and situations to our lives. But inasmuch as we say yes, no is often very powerful, and there has not been enough no, as far as I can tell, at a high level for quite a long time. There's been a lot of yes. Yes, go ahead and do this. Go ahead and do this. We don't care. Sell this. Sell that. Bring this over here. Kill this despot. Oh, go ahead. Yes, 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 yes. Now, who knows? Maybe there's no's. Maybe one of the reasons why this world is not in flames is that a few people actually had the balls to say no. No, we're not going to do that. No, I'm not going to show up at that point in time. No, we're not going to commit this amount of troops to that area. Catch my drift? So I don't think this is, I mean, I get it. I get it. Poor Esther. She's all confused about politics, and we don't talk about politics. You know, we don't go there. She has knots in her stomach. Jeez. I mean, is she that fragile? By the way, I went to an Abraham event one time, and it was a very interesting event. You could tell there were people, man, that have been there for a long time. And they were, you know, she knew the first name and they talked about what they're working on. And I mean, this was it's a big deal. Full-time commitment. It's a lot of money. There's a lot of money gets passed back and forth in these channeled situations. And I finally she finally answered, Abraham answered my question. It was the final question of the day. I don't want to get into it. It's a bit personal. But let me just say I had a bunch of people running up to me at the end of the show, at the end of the talk. All right, I'll tell you what it was. I was having a hard time on my marriage. I was struggling. I'm honest. I'm confessional. It's the age-old question. What happens when your belief system differs from your partner and you grow apart? That's what was happening. It's a painful situation. I had a kid. Moved towards divorce. You can see it. You can see it. It's like you're driving a car and you see this forest fire out in the distance. It's a glow and it's kind of smoking, and you just keep driving towards it, and you know you're going to get there eventually. Problem is, it doesn't go away, and eventually you got to drive through that thing. That's what happened. There's no straight answer for that. There's no straight answer. The only answer, and this is what happens with me when I have clients, it's like, look, you signed up for a deal. You signed up for a deal. When you got married and you decided to have a kid, you signed up for a deal. Whether you know it or not, the deal was to have a kid and to raise that kid. And so theoretically, in the confines of that experience, or in the structure of that experience, of limitations of that experience, you got to work it out. For some people, it's better than others. For some people, they're able to cohabitate and do that in agreement without having too much muss or fuss. But I was never really that kind of person, and ultimately, I don't think my ex-wife was. So we made the best of the situation. We decided to separate, and that's the only thing that can happen under those situations, because virtually nobody is going to give. If you're a woman and you are in a spiritual, quote unquote, place in your life, and your husband is not getting it, good chance he's not going to get it. It's not how he's wired. okay? Best thing you can do is to love him to the best of his ability or your ability, especially if he's a good guy and he's not, an a-hole and he doesn't cheat around and mess around and shows a relative interest in your life, does the best he can. What more can you really ask for at that point? And I'm being upfront and honest. Because to ask for more of him at that point is asking more than he's probably capable of delivering at that point. Does not mean it can happen later or it can't happen later. It might. And if you're a man and your wife is living in some kind of matrix-driven reality and you are awake and aware and you see what's going on, it's a good chance it's not going to change. So you may as well wake up to that, and you may as well figure out how you're going to live your life accordingly. You either decide you're going to live with it, find the areas that you agree upon, leave the rest alone, and hopefully there's more than not, or you unplug and you start over. And that's just the way it is. I'm being really super pragmatic. Every now and then in somebody's life, they have a moment. They have an enlightenment moment. They have a moment of clarity, and they can see it. It does not happen often, but it does happen. Make sure you exhaust all avenues before you unplug. That's all I'm saying. You agree with me? That's all I'm saying. But I don't agree with Abraham. I don't agree with the fact that I think it's the best selection ever. That I agree with. I would agree with that. This has been, I've actually enjoyed this election in a weird kind of way. Yes, it's tiring. Yes, we talk about it a lot. We're not done. We probably won't be done until after it's over. And even after it's over, we won't be done. Trust me. I mean, this thing could go on for a while. I mean, we've opened up a serious rift. I mean, a pretty serious rift inside of our mass consciousness. We've opened a serious rift. I'm not sure how we're going to heal this thing. It's going to take a Superman to bring these two factions back together again. Look, I'll play the Abraham game for a moment, okay? Let's say Hillary's elected. Okay, I'll surrender. I'll let go. Maybe this will be okay. Maybe she'll figure it out and she'll have some other kind of program and people will wind up being happier and nicer and more equal and will eat rainbow ice cream. I mean, maybe it'll all work out. Don't stress out about it so much, Robert. Don't worry about it. It's okay if we get, 5,000 fighting-age Muslims here every single day. It's okay. I'm all right with that. It's okay if we bring a bunch of people over that have, rare and exotic diseases like leprosy. I'm okay with that. It could be interesting. It could be creative. Could you imagine, new bills that Congress can enact? Like that you have to hire somebody with leprosy? The Leprosy Act of 2017. And you go to Starbucks and you're getting coffee from the Elephant Man. What's wrong with that? It can expand our compassion, right? Rare forms of tuberculosis, it's okay. Our immune systems can get stronger. You see, we can always take it up to the next level. Satanism and pedophilia, hey, it's okay. At least it's out in the open. We're not having to deal with all this dirty, occult, dark, hidden material. Hey, maybe we can get coloring books. Right? Food's been boring for the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, after molecular gastronomy, where's it gone? Spirit cooking. There's a whole new kind of cuisine just waiting to be explored with spirit cooking. I mean, think of the Food Network. Rachel Ray could just go over those. Speaking of Rachel Ray going over the top, she weighs about 300 pounds now. By the way, the rumors have it that Rachel Ray is, how shall we say, a little on the illuminated side. Let's say she's done a little spirit cooking herself. That's what I've heard. I don't have any pictures, although she has gained about 200 pounds. But come on! You know, it would give a whole new definition to Bobby Flay. Right? Hey, Bobby Flay, spirit cooking. There's so many possibilities we could be positive about with the election of Hillary Clinton. It's true. Absolutely true. Freedom of speech? Well, we'll get to define ourselves against freedom of speech, won't we? Absolutely. We get to see how free it really is. Boy. Yeah. These are all positive things to look forward to. I'm sold. I am now prepared for a Hillary election. Now, Trump, on the other hand, well, there's a lot to be positive about. There's no TTIP. No, Obamacare, see you later. 125% increase in the state of Arizona, by the way, for Obamacare. Goes away. There's something new, perhaps, for, certain people who have not chosen to be a part of Obamacare. Perhaps there's a little amnesty period there. Hey, that might be pretty good. No war with Russia. I was really looking forward to a war with Russia. I don't know about you, but I was really looking forward to one. My kid's 12. I was just hoping it would last about 5 more years so he could get a few good shots in. You know what I'm saying? My girlfriend's daughter is 12. Maybe she could, do her part. I was looking forward to that war with Russia. Damn. Guess I have to say goodbye to that. But it's okay. I can live without that. I can live without, more undocumented people coming into this country. I can kind of live without that. I know it's crazy. It's a really crazy thing to think about. I know. You know what? There'd be government agencies we'd have to say goodbye to. I guess I'd learn to live with that too. It's okay. Now, let's be clear, and I've said this before. I think Trump will be a surveillance freak. And I think he has got the biometric Jones, and we could have cameras everywhere. I mean, there could be kind of a bit of a paranoid streak running through our culture. Don't get me wrong. I'm hip to that. I'm hip to the chip. But I guess I could get okay with that too. Cameras everywhere. It's okay. Everybody's on camera. It's like God. God gets to see all of us anyway. So it's like the all-seeing eye of God inside and outside, that there is no separation. What a wonderful symbol. Omnipresence. I get it. Beautiful. Transformed. Nothing can affect us. FEMA camps, forget those. Time out. Relaxation. Okay, I get it. Wow, thank you. Thank you. I think Abraham's wrong. I understand the concepts. I get it. I think Abraham's wrong. I think it does matter. And it matters only for a period of time. Today, I posted on Facebook a quote by Ken Adachi from Henry Mackow's site. Let me read you the quote. I believe the quote is very much in alignment with what I've been talking about ever since this whole thing started. Okay? Here we go. I'm going to read you the quote, and then I'm going to read a few more stories, and I'm going to send you off into your
pre-election reverie. Okay? This is what Ken Adachi wrote. While Trump is the last person the JWO wants as president, he's still sufficiently pro-Israel, anti-Iran, pro-military buildup, pro-police, etc., that the neocons, such as the already active Rudolph Giuliani, may tell themselves that they are able to work with him. I caught hell from this quote, by the way, on Facebook. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Even though their world domination timetable will be set back, they will tell themselves by a decade or so. This is true. Think about that. The JWO wants to control events through stealth, bribery, and deception. Civil war and revolution means chaos, which is not easy to control. So I think it's more likely that they will accept a Trump win instead of risking the public backlash and assume they can maneuver him into their game plan. The American public wins, though, no matter what they think or do. With a Trump win, we buy time and expect the old-time sellouts in Congress to be booted out at an accelerated rate starting with this election. Righteous indignation, public will, and divine will have coalesced, it appears, at this point in history, and I believe that the collective force will prevail over the darkness that has overtaken this country for far too long. The words enshrined in the Battle Hymn of the Republic would fit our current situation perfectly. May God once again bless America. Ken Adachi is talking about the Jewish world order when he says the JWO. Okay, I would not use the same terminology as Ken. Ken and I would differ on the terminology. I would go down the neocon path. I would go down the Zionist path. And of course they want to control world events. Who doesn't want to control world events at some level? Maybe Donald Trump doesn't. I don't know. But is it the aggregation of power about control? And is it really at some point enough, not enough? How many other groups are into the aggregation of power? Quite a few. I'm sure the Chinese do as well. The Russians, I'm not so sure. But there are aggregate groups that want to control what goes down on this planet, plain and simple. And I'm sorry, if you disagree with that, I've got my own kind of version of it. And I'm unafraid to talk about it. The neocons got us in to this mess in the Middle East, right? And it is the Zionist mindset. I'm sorry, being straight up front. It's the Zionist mindset that has pervaded American politics through AIPAC, through GINSA. I'm just being honest. It's the most powerful lobbies in the freaking world. You want to get elected? You got to work with these people. I'm not being, I'm just being a pragmatist. I'm seeing what happens. If I'm wrong, tell me. That's it. So I'm in here with Ken. It buys us time. That's what we need. We need to buy some time. And I don't care what people say. I don't care. I'm willing to wear, the scarlet letter. I don't care. How's that? How is that, Abraham? But ultimately, would I love us all to live together in harmony? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because harmony is better. Peace is better. And this is what Abraham is correct about. Love is definitely better. Definitely. So I do choose love, I do choose peace, and I do choose harmony. Those are my affirmations. But sometimes you got to say no to get to yes. If you're a parent, do you just let your kid do whatever they want? Do you just say yes, 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 yes? Yes, Abraham says yes. You should say yes. Yes. You just keep forking off. Yes, you want to eat that? Yes, go ahead. Yes. That 5 pounds of cotton candy may not kill you this time, but maybe over the fourth time it will, and you'll learn something about overindulgence. But go ahead for now. The road to excess leads to the palace of wisdom. Thank you, William Blake. This is true. But as a parent, I think you want to be able to say to your kids, hey, look, this is what happens when you do this. I've been there, I've done that. You don't have to do it. I constantly tell my son that drugs are a dead end. Again, if you want to do them, that's up to you. That's fine. It's fine. Don't tell my kid to do them. I have my own experience, my own past. It's not terrible, but I wasted a lot of time. I gleaned some insights. I've gone into some interesting places. I think there could be real therapeutic use for psychedelics. They can be very powerful. They can help us under the right circumstances, right situation, right people, right place, right time. But I'm not going to say to my kid, yeah, go check it out. Oh, yeah, you may as well. Go ahead. Hey, Dad, what's this cocaine like? I don't know. It's something you put up your nose. You feel all euphoric for a while, and you better have a lot more money because you're going to want more. Should I try it? Yeah, go ahead. Follow your instincts, man. Just, align with your vortex. Next thing you know, I got a drug overdose. Successful parenting? I don't think so. You see, sometimes you got to say no. You got to say no in order to get to yes. And when I was in my 30s, man, I was all about yes. I said yes so many times, I got into a mess. I did. Absolutely. Now it's more about no. And if I can impart a few classic no's into my kid's life, it'll save them a lot of time, a lot of stress. And you just move on from that. This is what parents are supposed to do. Does it always work? Not always. But we give it our best shot. And I guess on Wednesday, the custody battle for the children of America will theoretically be over. Will we wind up living with mommy, or will we wind up living with daddy? How's that for an analogy? Thank you, Kimberly. That's where it's at. America has been in a custody battle. This is Kramer versus Kramer. And I've met people who've been through custody battles. Like even though I got a divorce, I was not in a custody battle. And I was not in a custody battle with my parents. They didn't divorce. But I'll bet you this election's been triggering some people. Right? On that level, total trigger material. Ain't life grand? It is good to be alive. It is good to be alive at this point in time. We understand what the dynamics are. We have become more cognizant of the shadow on a collective level. Perhaps we've been forced to look at our own shadow, our own fears, the things that are the most terrifying to us as they rise to the surface in the form of stories coming from the world of John Podesta, Marina Abramovic, and the spirit cookers. The realm of voodoo, Bill Clinton, Haiti, possession, the mordant fears of all of our repressed imagination and collective memories when the darkness descended upon this world. And we became slaves to a demiurge that ruled over it. This is the time for us to shake loose those chains. I'm Robert Phoenix, and you've been listening to an extended version of 15 Minutes of Flame. I'll be back tomorrow with big coverage, both here on Blog Talk Radio and on the live stream. Until then, use your head to discern what's real, your heart to stay open to what's possible.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike, you know.
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
This fall, we want to make happiness contagious, not the flu. With flu season right around the corner, stop by your neighborhood Randall's for your flu shot from one of our friendly pharmacists with no appointment needed. And as our thank you for choosing Randall's Pharmacy for your flu shot, we'll give you 10% off your grocery purchase. Avoid the flu season rush and save money on your groceries. Faster, friendlier, healthier. More reasons your Randall's store is just better.